Hello viewers, we are back once again with this Lasko 2524 oscillating stand fan. And today we are going to clean and repair this oscillating stand fan. Now the first thing I want to do before we do anything else is figure out this problem, because there's really no value in cleaning it up if I don't have a way to turn it on. So I've got, well, first off, going around and buying a new knob would just be ridiculous. So we're going to make one. So I've got these dowels here that have been sitting down here for, I haven't even the slightest idea of how long. They're made in USA, which is kind of miraculous. So I'm thinking that I'm going to somehow use one of these dowels, probably this one because it's the thickest, and get it to fit on there. And we'll see. I mean, this may not even give us enough mechanical advantage to turn the knob. I'm not entirely sure. But the first thing I got to do is drill a small hole in there. And it's going to be interesting because can I take this off of here? I don't know if it's, there we go. Let's make this a little bit easier to get on video here. Okay. So, I don't know how to drill a hole that looks like this, because if we drill a hole and it's circular, it's not going to move anything. It's got to be like half a circle. So I think what we're going to do is I'm going to drill a hole that's a little bit smaller than that. And then I'm going to jam it the rest of the way with a screwdriver, because I just don't have the correct woodworking tools to make a hole that's that size. Alright, so that turned out to be 50 times simpler than I was expecting. I happen to have a drill bit that was just the right size, so that I drilled a regular hole, stuck it on, and there's enough friction that it works. And there's plenty of mechanical advantage to change the speeds. So I thought that was going to pose a challenge, but it didn't. So that's that. Now we can go forward with the regular cleaning and servicing procedure. So let's get started. Take the guard off. Actually, I think I'm going to put it back on the stand for now. Because for this part, it's going to be a little bit easier. I'm never too fond of the way these guards are. There's no screws to undo them. You just have to press in these tabs and pull it out. It's not a very good design, but if you want something toolless, I guess it passes. It's more of a nuisance to put on than it is to take it off. So here's the inside. It's got a coating of dust in there, but nothing outrageous. Here is the blade, and I'm starting to wonder if there's some kind of a defect here, because you look at the shape of the blade, it kind of almost curves back on itself there, and it doesn't seem to be very aerodynamic. It seems to me like it should be more like that. So I don't know if this is just a cheap blade and it's changed over time, or if that's how it's supposed to be. Who knows? But there's that. And I guess from the looks of it, it appears to be that same basic motor shell as all the other ones had. I wonder if this one just has smaller windings or something. That's very possible. Yep, that's more or less the same motor that's in the box fans and all their other fans that they make. Does this have a screw? Nope, it doesn't have a screw. I guess it just comes off. Does it come off or not? No, I guess not. Whatever. And there it is. Now, of course, this one has a different shell because it's got the oscillation mechanism that tacks on the back. But this is a Pro motor, not a Glory. Does this have a current rating on it? It does, 0.56 amps, so it's about half of what the box fans are. I think they're 0.9. So yeah, here it is. In all its cheap glory. I mean, in all honesty, these weren't terrible motors. It's more so an issue of, oh jeez, you can't even see it. These weren't necessarily bad motors. It's more a case of they have heavier blades than they really should be handling. This one has a small 2 microfarads capacitor. Interesting kind of a cutout here. And this is what I was talking about, how I said they all have the same motors just with a slightly modified shell. This was clearly a cut in here. This was not a manufacturing process of a new mold. That was cut out to have these. That's ridiculous. What's this? Some plastic. So no oil ports. Decent amount of vents to let the air through, whatever air is coming through these motor housings. Yeah, it's just a regular old fan motor. So I'm going to take this off again. We'll set that aside and get that serviced. Going to remove as much of this as I can. I think this whole thing comes out. And then this is just, actually I think even this comes apart too. I really wanted it to. And it probably would if I tried hard enough, but I don't know. Actually, you know what? Maybe. Would it just go out like that? Yeah. Alright, that goes out like that. And then this is kind of cracked here. Actually, I got the hot glue gun out. I might as well plug it in and glue it. It's not really a stability issue, but I could just see like this getting caught on the carpet or something and causing an issue. So we'll go ahead and glue that back up. But yeah, that's that. Pretty easy to take apart. So I'm going to go ahead and wash all these components upstairs in the bathtub, and then we will reconvene on the video after that. Okay, so the parts are washed and they are now drying. So let's take a look inside this motor here. So I can already tell that the front bearing is not going to come out easily because of this. This would have to be hammered out before the front bearings would slide off. I mean, the spin down time is fine as it is. So I think what we're going to do is we'll remove the cover from the oscillating mechanism here so that we can add some oil to the back bearing. And we'll add some oil to the front bearing. And that's going to be it, because there's no reason to do anything further. Oh wow, there's actually a substantial amount of lubricant in here. That's nice to see. Okay, I'll go ahead and grab my non-detergent blue can fan oil for fans. Fans. And we'll put a couple drops down in the bearing. And I'm guessing these are probably seal bearings, so you know, it's the permanently lubricated baloney again. So the oil will probably just leak out, but it is what it is. I tried. Okay. This doesn't give me very much slack to work with at all. Okay, that should be all set. We'll screw these screws back in. It's actually a largely all metal gear box. Of course the gears inside are just plastic, but at least some part of it's metal. Okay, that does appear to be working. Disengage it, it's definitely working the way it should be. Put a couple drops of oil on the front bearing here. And again, I don't know if this is actually making any difference or not. Probably not, but oh well. Turn this on just for a moment here. The oil kind of work its way in, and the oil is spilling. Don't really want that to happen. Alright, so now we'll just brush off the surface dust here, because it's not too bad. Just have to vacuum up the table afterwards, that's all. As long as all the air vents are clear, that's really all that matters when it comes to removing the dust from these kind of fans. Alright, that's going to be good enough for me. So I'll go ahead and grab the parts, and then we can put everything back together. Here's the parts. This is broke, so I'm just going to glue it from the inside right here, just so that it doesn't split apart when I put it on the floor and then tear the carpet or something like that. Probably wouldn't be an issue, but might as well prevent it if we easily can. That's probably going to give you the best angle of it. Okay, that'll do. It's not really holding any weight, so if it has a strong bond or not, it's almost not relevant. So I'll put this over here to dry, and then let's see here. Kind of need that to put it back together. Well, I guess we can assemble it without that. Just be a little more difficult. First this goes on. Some of these pieces are still kind of wet, but I don't really care. Yeah, they're going on wet. And this is a cheap fan anyways. I don't think it will make any difference. It'll dry out overnight. The oil is leaking out of this bearing all over the place. And I'm going to wipe it off again just because having the oil on there attracts dust to the surface. It's just going to cause it to get dirtier quicker. So I like to remove the excess oil. Put the infamous speed dial on there. Works perfectly fine. Looks ridiculous. Actually, you know what? It doesn't look all that bad, but whatever. It's good enough. Got the rear guard out here. Let's see. It's buried under all these other parts. I gotta go to sleep. I wish these fans had handles. None of their pedestal models, to my knowledge, have handles. And it's kind of annoying to move them around. The other thing I don't like about this particular fan is that the threads on this thing are plastic. So, if you're not careful, they'll strip out very easily. Put those on there very, very lightly. So let's see. Well, it looks like the spin down time actually did get better. A lot better, in fact. That's a little bit surprising. I wasn't really expecting it to make much of a difference. Okay, let's put the front guard back on. And this is probably the most annoying part of dealing with these guards. They're not the easiest thing. Of course, it would be easier if it was on the stand, but the stand is gluing. Okay, that's in place. And now I gotta get the stand. Yes, we need it now. The glue is dry, yeah. And so what I did here is it just makes it so that these sharp edges here are not going to sit in the carpet, and this won't have a chance of, you put it down and it pinches the carpet, and you pull it up and it tears it or something like that, because the dog would try to eat the carpet if there's a little bit of a torn up spot or whatever. So that's just kind of dodged a freak show thing that happened. I gotta admit, this is a relatively clever design. And it works. It just plain old works. It's cheap, but it works. This, on the other hand, with the screw in the bottom, this I'm not too fond of. I'll go ahead and remove this screw so I can put the stand in properly. And we're supposed to screw this screw back in. I don't see what difference it really makes, but I don't think it actually holds the thing in place. wish there was a screw at the top where the stand meets the fan motor, because that does seem to come off fairly easily. At least on my other models. Okay, that's there for whatever it does. I think it does nothing, but that's just me. Let's pull this out first. Oh, there is actually a supposedly a screw holding it in place, but I don't know how you would. Kind of a hassle to tighten that or undo it and then redo it. Here. Just gotta force it in there and hope for the best. I guess that'll work. Alright, well, let's give it a test. Like I said, I don't expect it to perform very differently, but who knows. It should move a little bit more air at least. I'll start off on low and oscillate it back to the center. Okay. You know what? It actually moves significantly more air now. And I'm not just saying that to lead you to believe I do good work. It actually moves more air. Now, it's still not a very powerful fan, but now it's like acceptable. That's okay now. I could deal with that. Yeah, it really is remarkable what a simple cleaning and oiling can do to these cheap fans. A lot of people just toss them out after a couple of years, but you know, spend half an hour, clean and oil it, and it's good as new. I'm still not saying this fan is impressive, it's really not, but now at least it's moving a usable amount of air. Speed 2. And speed 3. Alright, that's not bad. It's still nothing to write home about, but now it's like I can understand how this made it through the design and implementation process. Alright, now I would say it moves a decent amount of air. Not bad. A little oscillation here. It's a lot more useful now. And spin down. It should be pretty long, I hope. The only thing that speed dial is lacking is a pointer to show what setting it's on. So I'll just add a little mark on it to indicate. Okay, good. I'm very happy with how that came out. So drop this into the floor here, tighten this up, and this is what we're going to do here. It's going to add a little mark. Actually, no, this hole isn't centered here, so we'll put this more on the thicker side, and then we'll just draw a little mark on here. Not that it really matters what setting it's on. I mean, pretty easy to tell, but there, that's something. Alright, so that's pretty good. A little bit of ingenuity, simple cleaning and lubrication. Another useful fan saved out of the landfill. Goodbye.